You know how people say that music is a universal language? I think that there's a little bit more to that. It's actually emotions that are a universal language.
The incredible A.R. Rahman so vibe to like an R&B track of mine.
My favorite part of the year would definitely have been playing internationally for the first time.
How's life post One Direction been for you, Akhil?
You're not just a musician in the current day and age, you're an entrepreneur. That's one way of, like, I think that's the only way of looking at it.
I didn't find my sound until I found myself as a person. That only happened after that. I realized, okay, this is my sound.
Can we just all appreciate Gini's social media game? Like,
Oh yeah.
Thinking about doing it isn't doing it. Speaking about doing it isn't doing it. Like only doing it is doing it. You just have to do it. You know, it's just you can't.
we've not been paid money by Nike, anyways.
Yeah.
I was just gonna.
Hi, I'm Akhil Sahni.
Hi, this is Gini.
Hi, this is Aarya.
Namaskar, my name is Shreyas Sagvekar.
Hi, I'm Shriya Rao.
And we are at one roof.
With Bhaarat.
Okay, so welcome to the first edition of One Roof. We have some phenomenal artists from our country, and this is the first time the Radio One's doing a roundtable. Well, I'm a big supporter of indie music, and I've had the good fortune of talking to over 140 independent artists. And from those 140 artists, 5 artists who've been making moves. You've been streaming and screaming their music. They've blown the roof with their music, and we get them all under one roof, which is why we call this One Roof. It's an honor to have Shriya Rao, Shreyas Sagvekar, Aarya, Gini, and Akhil Sahni under one roof. Let's hear for them, guys. Come on. Thank you so much for making the time, guys. You know, let's talk about the achievements of 2025 because the year is about to end. You know, right from the mega success that you carried off of Tamdi Chamdi and for you, Sukoon Gini, you know, you all have brought that momentum in 2025 with the Deva title track, you venturing into Bollywood, performing at the first edition of Rolling Loud. Before that, a cross-cultural collaboration with Aksomaniac in the form of Paapam, Malayalam music and Marathi music together. And of course now, Red Bull 64 Bars. Shriya has been killing it, of course, on the Naadaniyaan soundtrack. Something that you've worked on with Tushar Lal behind the scenes, to your latest track, Talk to Me with Hersh and Noah Cerejo, to Aarya releasing a wonderful new EP in the form of Me, a 3-track EP, very heartfelt, some tracks with a lot of gravitas. We're going to be linking all the music in the description. Please check it out. Gini has been on a killing spree right from Sukoon, like I mentioned, of course, performing at YTFF, the brilliant collaboration with Tsumyoki, Don't Even Text, that has been having an earth-shattering response, to Akhil Sahni releasing a Puzzle, and of course performing with the very famous Fahim Abdullah. We have musicians with so much of varied experience and your own unique distinct voices. What has been the highlight of 2025 for you with all that I mentioned, or maybe something beyond that? Let's start with you, Shreya.
Oh, okay. Great. So basically what I'm sensing is I'm going to get the least time to formulate an answer.
Okay.
But, okay. One of the highlights of 2025 has definitely been seeing the incredible A.R. Rahman so vibe to like an R&B track of mine. It's called Trust Me. And I got the opportunity to kind of play it in front of him, and, you know, he asked me so many questions about my musical background, and he gave me suggestions, and he was just so encouraging and positive, and I think it was just surreal to see him vibe to like an R&B track. And yeah, that was definitely a highlight.
Mozart of Madras, of course. Shreyas, what's been the highlight for you, brother?
I think recently, you know, we did a full Marathi music festival, okay, in Pune. Right. And for the promotions of that, we were on the episode of Chala Hava Yehu De. Okay, Chala Hava Yehu De is a very household show in Marathi. It's a comedy show. There are kids, they perform it live, etc. And we were there for the promotion. And there, I was a guest, and Nandesh Umab was also a guest. Nandesh Umab is what can I say about him? He's a legendary singer, legendary writer. He has done a whole lot of things. And there, I had a chance to jam with him, where we did a mix like a modern and a folk version of Tamdi Samdi, and we did it on a dholki, we did it on a house beat, etc. And that was the highlight of my year, is what I think.
Wow, that's wonderful. Aarya, how about you?
I think, there was obviously releasing the EP, my EP Me. It was an EP I've released after I mean, this is my third EP which I've released after 8 years. Or no, wait, 6 years or 7 years.
Wow.
So that was big because I'd just been releasing singles for a very long time and I thought that I just had a lot to say. So I released this in the form of an EP across like 9 years of just my songwriting, what I've been doing. And also, like, I've collaborated very recently with two artists, DJ White Shadow and Anthony Watts.
Yeah.
DJ White Shadow, I mean, he's a Grammy-nominated producer and songwriter. He's worked with Lady Gaga and the likes, Anthony as well. Really cool people. And we recorded this at Yashraj, and it was just like 3 days of like almost like a boot camp thing where we just like went in and just slapped songs one after the other, and it was insane.
So cool. How about you, Gini?
My favorite part of the year would definitely have been playing internationally for the first time.
Oh,
a
wow.
show under my own tour. So I played 2 shows, one in London, one in Bournemouth. And that was incredible to be able to play a show with my own music in a country very far away from home. But that was one. And exploring my songwriting in a different way, because I tended to not write more pop sort of lyrics pehle, but this year I tried doing more pop, and that was interesting.
Wow, that's so cool. Can we just all appreciate Gini's social media game? Like,
Oh, yeah.
dude, the way you promote your shows and the way you go about things, I think there's so much of authenticity and so much of like design that is unseen behind it. So kudos to you for that. Akhil, let's talk about everything that you've done. But before that, you know, the Zulf that is sort of pointed out. How's life post One Direction been for you, Akhil?
Hey, we don't talk about that here. No, I'm joking.
No, let's talk about Puzzle. How did the whole EP come to be?
I think, yeah, that's what this year has been, finding myself, finding my sound, knowing what I want to do, which will obviously change, but at least for the moment, what I want to stand for in this artist as a country and the kind of sound I want to push. I finished studying finance and finally got some breathing space to be like, okay, these are your strengths, these are what you're good at, what you think the world needs more of, and what comes most naturally to you. And that's where the EP was born. Making an EP, making an album, you go into a specific zone with it. That was a very important moment for me. And then I strayed far away from it in moments and explored different things, learned a lot about myself, pushed myself, and I'm in a place where I know what I want to do and what I'm going for.
Wow, kudos to you all, man. Akhil just mentioned something really interesting. He said that 2025 has taught me a lot. You've learned a lot from it. Yeah. That's a question that I have for all of you all. What is that one thing that you all have learned from 2025 that you all are taking as a learning in 2026 and probably might do differently? What would that be for you? Let's start with Shreyas. Shreya has offloaded the pressure.
I think one thing I've learned recently is like, for example, when you're making a song and putting it out, after a while you need to sort of have a certain amount of detachment with the project you are putting it out. Because I think as musicians, we hold our songs like very close to my heart. I'm very possessive about everything I make. So for the song to be what it can be, there's a certain amount of detachment you have to master with the project is what I learned this year.
Yeah.
Fair point.
How about you, Shreya? How about you, Arya? What do you think?
I think one thing that I've learned this year specifically, because of the EP in particular, is you're not just a musician in the current day and age, you're an entrepreneur. That's one way of, like, I think that's the only way of looking at it. Yeah,
I like it.
Like, I get the most important part about you putting out your music is putting out your music. That's what you have to do. But you also have to look at it holistically. Like, I mean, this is something that we must have realized long time ago, but I think when it comes to larger projects, you realize it even more. So I think, yeah, you just have to look at it from, social media, whatever, marketing, gigs is one big aspect, and at the same time your songwriting and everything all together. Yeah.
How about you, Gini?
I think what I learned this year was I am my own biggest critic.
Okay.
And making sure that critical aspect of me does not prevent me from putting out something that I really resonate with, and just accepting that a song can be about myself and placing myself in it. Because something that I often did was say that I am a medium. What I write is myself channeling what I see around me or I observe, but not really accepting that it could be my life as well. And just sort of understanding and blurring that boundary this year was something I loved learning.
Wow. How about you, Akhil?
I think patience. It's a very long game. It's not a If you want to make a career in this profession, it's a very long game. You need patience. You need to believe that everything happens for a reason. What's meant to find you will find you, and also that thinking about doing it isn't doing it. Speaking about doing it isn't doing it. Like only doing it is doing it. You just have to do it.
Wow.
It's just you can't.
We've not been paid money by Nike anyway.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that.
That makes a lot more sense now because you genuinely just have to do it. Like everything else is noise. You need to compartmentalize and just do it and have patience.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So well said. How about you, Shriya? Now, finally.
So you stole my answer, dude. But
You can do the Puma. You can do the Puma tagline. I mean, you can just probably.
no, but just to add on to what you've said, I think being patient with yourself is super important because, I idolize like Tate McRae, Ariana Grande, all of these people that I'm sure you guys love their music too. And we don't kind of get to see the process entirely of how they got there. We're kind of seeing like the end result. So we think that, okay, we need to get there. But it's a process, like you're saying. It takes time. Things have to align at the right time. You got to be in the right room with the right people. And everything takes time, but it will happen. So I think just being super patient with that. And also what you said about doing gigs, I think showing yourself and being really in the scene, hanging out with other artists, networking, so important. So I've kind of, made sure I've done that this year.
Well, that's so well said. I would just actually like to proceed with what Gini said. Gini, you mentioned that, how you're your biggest critic. And I want to actually sort of touch down upon the songwriting aspect of it, because I feel something that really distinguishes all of y'all is your authenticity, how authentic y'all are with your work. Y'all have a really unique voice. Y'all are dabbling into really different genres. There might be some blurring lines, but I think most of it is, very unique. And that's what makes our scene so beautiful. Authenticity is so important with all the experience that you gather. Y'all have been in music for longer than 5 or 10 years, I'm sure, for most of y'all, for some of y'all, even more than that. How do you maintain your authenticity? I have a small theory about authenticity. It's about what feels true and what feels correct at the moment. And you sort of amass experience, you amass courage and conviction by everything that you do. So how do you keep your authenticity as a songwriter intact? Because Gini prompted me the questions for Gini. Gini, how do you start?
Wait, how do I keep my authenticity intact? I think just making sure that I take the time to really get out of my own head, get out of my comfort zone, go explore places, meet people, talk to them, because I am a homebody and a very, very lazy individual. So getting me out of the house is a task in itself. But just making sure that I go and experience that one experience that perhaps I have been shirking for a long time, because I know that that will perhaps spark something in my head which will lead me down another train of thought, which could lead to the birth of something that I did not think would exist had I not gone and experienced it in the first place. So making sure that I'm experiencing something new, talking to people, listening more than anything, and just consuming art in a non-presented form, but in an observational way. Because art is of course presented to you everywhere. You have galleries, you have movies, you have songs that are all packaged. But if you as an observer do not make the time to go and find it and experience it how you would like to, there's no really getting over the boundaries that you set for yourself. And just, it allows you to awaken your artistic sense, I think.
Okay, so before we even get to the other answers, Gini, something really interesting you mentioned. You mentioned that you're a homebody and you of course come from a defense background where your father was in defense. You've moved around our country a lot. I want to ask you about this because you actually have the privilege of experiencing different cultures and different people very early in your life. I'm sure that it expanded your horizon as a singer-songwriter as well. So what is it that you learned or grasped from that very process of growing up in different cities? And now to your music reaching different places and you touring with your music, like you mentioned, you even toured abroad. How is it symbiotic? Like, how is that process of being in different cities and different cultures? Does that help you with your songwriting? Of course, you said that you're open to experiences. What is that one thing that you learned being in different places? And has that helped you make your music palatable to other places?
Okay, so you know how people say that music is a universal language? I think that there's a little bit more to that. It's actually emotions that are a universal language, because music is also presented in different ways. There are different genres, there are different styles, languages, etc. But emotions at the core of it remain the same across human beings, because I mean, they are chemical imbalances in your brain that you feel differently. But it was incredible to know that regardless of where I went or whom I was playing the song to, if they knew the story, if they understood what the emotion was when I wrote the song, it became easier for them to connect with it as well. So, I mean, the major thing that I picked up was that emotion is the same across human beings.
Wow, crazy.
That's actually really good.
That's lovely. Thank you for answering that. Let's get to the authenticity aspect of being a singer-songwriter. Shriya, what is it that you do? You know, it's really mesmerizing that how at the age of 19 you have a clear vision of how you have some wonderful dancers on stage. You know how to sort of articulate and encapsulate the vibe of what you want to do because you work behind the scenes and you're making this music that is so boppy. You're dabbling into new genres. How do you maintain your authenticity and how do you realize this is the space that I, for now, want to dabble into?
For sure. So I am a total girl's girl.
Oh, lovely.
And I wanted to bring that aspect of my personality onto stage as well. So I have, like you mentioned, female dancers. I have an all-female band, which is just, it's some crazy energy when you're just in a room full of females sometimes too. And, a conversation that I had with them was, I want you guys to kind of feel free to be you on stage. If you want to wear, a shirt and blazer and come out on stage, do that. If you think that represents you best, do that. So for me, I invite everyone, a part of my team and everyone I know, to just kind of be themselves as well and like hone their personalities on stage. And in terms of my sound, I mean, it's been changing a lot. I'm sure when in 5 years I'll be making some different kind of music. So it's difficult when you say authenticity. Sometimes I feel so tied down to the word. I'm like Gini said, should you explore a different sound, maybe a different language too? But I think authenticity also grows in a way when you grow, when you get older, when you meet more people, listen to more music. So I think it's something that's constantly evolving, if I'm being honest. But it kind of comes down to your values and your morals that you hold at your core.
Wow, that's wonderful. Shreyas, let's talk about authenticity. You are, of course, taking Marathi music to the globe. Probably the most popular Marathi track in the world. Tamdi Chamdi. How do you maintain the authenticity of your core values and your core culture when you're representing it by the means of your music, by the means of the vessel of your music? How would you do that?
I think a lot of things for me came down to just self-awareness, like knowing yourself. Because I didn't find my sound until I found myself as a person. That only happened after that. I realized, okay, this is my sound, and my sound was not sonic. It's how I represent myself. Is how I put myself out there. Because if you see, I started writing in Marathi very recently. Like 4 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that. Because when I started rapping, I've always been writing in English. I still write in English. So when I started rapping in 2010, 2011, I was always writing in English. One part of me, whenever I tried to write Marathi lyrics in the past, it felt a little more vulnerable because every time I wrote something Marathi, I felt, oh, my mom is going to understand this. My dad is going to understand this. What if they sit me down and, okay, let's talk about this. I don't want to do that with my mom. Some shit like that. So that used to happen. So that, yes, like this topic I can't discuss with mom. I don't want my mom to understand this. So that held me back in some ways when I was writing. And recently when I tried writing in Marathi, I figured ki it was so easy. It was so easy. It was so effortless when you're writing in your mother tongue. And when I started doing that, I sort of reinvented myself in ways where then I got to know, like I talk a certain way, my voice has a certain tone. And when I'm expressing myself in one particular language is different. I'm a different person when I'm rapping in English. I'm a different person when I'm rapping in Marathi. And while doing this, I figured the only crossroads that we come on is like me being myself, like me being comfortable with myself. So it took a lot of going back, seeing what were you, and it happens like she said, you change, like authenticity, like it reinvents itself. So that's what happened with me. First I was different, now I am different, but there is always a base value to it, which I feel is an honest form of expression, and that's what sets me apart also. Because I think as an artist, you can always have like very unique sounds, very unique production, etc., etc. But there is only one combination that sets you apart, is you being yourself. Because there will be all sorts of beats, there will be all sorts of instruments that are played, etc., etc. but the best permutation combination which will be most unique is you as a person. So when you crack that is, I think, when your most authentic self comes out.
Wow. I mean, I think the quote for me, as of now, is using music as a means of self-discovery and finding your sound by the means of that. It's such a symbiotic. I think a lot of people find their music within themselves, and you're finding yourself within the music.
Through music, yes.
So
I think so.
that's
true.
absolutely commendable. Now let's get to Akhil and Arya. Of course, you all have released longer pieces in the forms of EPs. When you are going in the space of EP, unless it's a mixtape or something of that sort, it's basically a larger theme that you all are attacking. How do you all realize that there's more to the soundscape or more to the emotion, that it needs to be channelized by the means of more music than a singular track? How did the whole process of constructing your EPs come to be? Let's start with Akhil.
So
Arya was nodding over, sorry.
yeah, I think as my EP's title and the theme suggests, puzzle is different pieces of the puzzle. It can't be just one thing, and they're all experiences that are interrelated and connect to the same theme. For me, and hopefully for others as well, it's just about modern love being so complex that there's a lot of variables in this generation for things to work out compared to, our parents' times or when things were maybe simpler. And you're trying to fit like these massive concepts the size of the ocean into like a glass of water. And I think it becomes easier when you do a bigger project. We're taking the easy way out, honestly. If you're trying to fit this massive concept into like I got a jug of water. So I got enough space to be like, okay, I can write a song about this specific concept and this and this and this. And it doesn't have to be like in one song. It started off as an attempt to make it one song, which was the title track. And that's where the EP started from. There I'm like, oh shit, this song is not nearly enough for what all I want to say. The title track is also called Puzzle. And it's the first track on the EP and just sets the tone for the other tracks that are to come. And it's like a summary for everything, because I was trying to do that first. It wasn't an EP to begin with. I wrote that title track and I'm like, okay, shit, everything I'm writing is along these same lines. It's the same sonics. It's very true to me. And I resonate with a lot of what Shreyas Bhai said, because that's how I found myself and what's true to me. And my authenticity was my childhood self and trying to make my younger version proud by honing the keys and embracing it, and hopefully having some kid in the future look at that happily.
Wow, so well answered, Akhil. Let's get to Arya. Arya, how was it like for you when you were constructing Me?
So constructing Me. So yeah, basically I completely get what Akhil is saying. Like, just it becomes easier when there's a larger body of work. But my reason, to be honest, one of the reasons is I just got bored of releasing singles, to be honest. I just felt like it became too robotic, even though all my songs were talking about things that I've been through and talking about things that I know someone else has experienced maybe in some cases. I don't like to talk about things that I'm manufacturing in my head, to be very honest, because then the songs just turn out to be vanilla. So with Me, one of the reasons, I wanted to just release a larger body of work. And it was a very long time since I released that larger body of work. And secondly is the reason the EP also is called Me is because it's me from, I started songwriting when I was 16. My first EP came out when I was 18, 19. My second EP came out when I was 19, 20. And now I'm 27. The reason it's called Me is because there is one song from each phase of my songwriting. It, again, as you mentioned, it started off with just, okay, let's just put out one song. And then I was just like, I've not done something like this in a very long time. I want to say more, and I know I can say more. So one of the songs was when I think I wrote when I was 18 or 19. One of the songs I wrote when I was like 23, 24, getting out of uni. And the other song I wrote, I think, like 2 months before recording the EP. So it was one song from each and every phase of my songwriting. So that's how Me came about, because it's me in all my phases of my life.
Boyhood EP version.
But man, I think just getting like, for me, it was just wanting to put out something because I just felt like I had more to say.
Just to add to that, I also want to say that my EP was also meant to represent something timeless and bring back a sound from the old times. And I feel like larger projects is something that have died down a lot. And you go to a label office and you say the word album, they're like throw you out immediately. And EP is like the safe spot. I don't think I'm ready for an album, that's why it's an EP. But I feel like that's how music is meant to be experienced in larger projects. It always has been. Vinyls could not be skipped. It's in an order. You kind of get the whole experience, right? It's a movie, it's a universe. You're being put into that. When you're in a 3-hour-long movie, you imagine yourself in it as the characters. You leave with like a feeling for at least the next day or so, still in that universe, and you're like, this movie's changed me completely, bro. So it's that, right? Like you're getting to be in a universe, like you're being led into that world. So that's very tough to do.
Wow, the moment you say E or A in any music label, you're on speed dial of the bouncers.
No, I mean, to add to that, to be honest, my EP I released with a label, and they were like, the moment I approached them saying, I want to release an EP, they were like, yeah, go for it. If you have more to say, then just go for it. And they'll just release the EP. So fortunately for me, the label that I work with, I mean, times they, for the EP, I mean, they were very like, if you have more to say, just go for it. And it wasn't, and complete creative freedom. Like, this is what you want to do, this is what you want to do, and we'll figure out everything else around it. So
yeah, I would like to say times they are changing. Anyways, let's get to what Akhil said, and it's so interesting because in today's day and age, musicians are content creators, and not only content creators by the means of putting out Instagram videos or YouTube videos. I'm not looking at you, Gini. And it's you have to wear so many hats. I have the utmost empathy for everyone because it's not only musicians. All of us have fallen trapped to consumerism. The CEO of Spotify, Daniel Ek, comes out and says that you can't put a couple of tracks, you need to put out albums or multiple albums every year. I would actually like to ask you all that, how do you all protect the sanctity of your work? We've of course spoken about the authenticity aspect of it. It's so difficult to make a song. I mean, it might be so easy yet so difficult to put it out. There's so much of work beyond that that you all need to do in order to ensure that in the volume of music that is being put out every day, because it's so democratic, and now you're not only competing with humans, you're competing with artificial intelligence. This is the real life version of Terminator that we are sort of
Terminator, 1984, everything else.
Exactly. So within all of this music being put out, and you realizing that knowingly or unknowingly you're a part of a rat race, how do you ensure that this is where I draw the line? This is the amount of music that I put out, no matter what my prerequisites are, whether I'm an independent artist or whether I'm in a label setup. How do you go about putting your foot down and realizing that, okay, at this point of time, there's so much music within me, I'm open to doing more kinds of music or different genres of music, but this is the amount of music I'm going to put out, whether it's a single, whether it's a collaboration, or whether it's an EP or album?
I think you don't think about how to release it while you're making a song. While you're making a song, you should not care about, okay, how will I put it out? That is the first thing, I think. You don't think about release. And it takes time to reach that point, I think, after. Because at the start, you are just writing songs. Then after like 2 years in your career, you realize, okay, I have to plan the release also. Then the next 3 years, you will try to write songs according to the release. Then 3 years, it will not work as you are thinking it is going to work. Then you will, oh shit, I have to go back how I was writing. I think that's where it comes from. And I think once you're done making the song, I think the challenge is to be not overwhelmed by what you said about like, oh, I have to make so much content. You have to sit down and honestly talk in front of the camera. How would you make music? Just talk about the song with like what you're feeling about it. Don't put too much pressure on you. Okay, I have to have a hook in the reel. I have to have a CTA in the reel. I think if you just honestly, express, and then it's always about finding a team also. कि मैं कैमरे के सामने मेरे को जो बोलना है अच्छे से बोल दूंगा. Then I'll give the whole thing to my editor. Then he'll best find out how to make a story out of it. So then he can figure it out. You as an artist don't have to stress about it, is what I think.
Right. How about you, Shriya?
Yeah, delegating for sure, super important. But I think as most indie musicians, I mean, you are wearing so many hats, and you're content creator, musician, songwriter, singer. For some people, dubbing artists, you do ads, you perform live. It's quite hectic, and it's not entirely sustainable initially to just be like making money through releasing music.
Absolutely.
So I think it's also about pacing yourself out and like again, knowing when is a good time to release it in your schedule. For example, December is a super hectic month for most indie artists because that's when you make your money. That's when you go and do all the corporate shows that you can, right? So most people don't like to release in December for valid reason. But yeah, pacing yourself.
Yeah, because all the streaming people want to go on a holiday in December.
Good one. I was already saying that, but you
I
didn't.
was going to say because Mrs. Mariah Carey detours every year.
She's just partying in December.
Comes out of the cave.
She's the Falguni Pathak of the wedding. She just pops up during Christmas and she's like, what's happening?
Falguni Pathak of the West is an insane tag.
So, let's talk about this because you all just mentioned the fact that you all have to don different hats. There's so much that you all are doing. What is the most enjoyable process of, doing all the different things that you all do beyond the music making process for you all individually?
Ooh.
Ginny, let's go.
Performing.
Yes.
I love live music. I
There's
love
nothing
playing
better
my
than
music
that.
live.
Being in front of people.
The kick that you get out of it.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
The kick that you get out of performing your music live is unreal. That's the reason, at least for myself. And this also.
It makes everything
all of
feel
us.
worth it.
Exactly. And I mean, this ties into the previous question also. How do you preserve the sanctity of it? It is because when I've made a song, I am imagining how it's going to sound when I perform it on stage.
Yeah.
I am thinking, how will this tie in? How will I connect the story of the last song to this one? How is it going to flow into one cohesive project, a presentation of art that is in my head, and how will it visualize and how will it turn into something actually present there in front of you? So to me, the performance aspect of it is the most fun part. It is addictive, and that is why I love December, because you get to go and perform all the music you've put out for the entire year.
Yeah.
Most artists, they shift their tour. I mean, we were supposed to do one more tour, but I decided not to because I did release I released fewer songs this year than I did last year, but I got to play all of the newer music in this gig season, allowing me to just focus on enjoying myself and being a musician and playing live, because that's where it's at.
Wow, absolutely. How about you, Shreyas?
About how you keep
What's
hold
the
of
most,
the
and what's the most
fun? I think it's live performance. Being on the stage is the best
It's a
thing.
common answer, I think, for all of
It's
us.
the
Yeah,
best
for
thing
all of
ever.
us, to be
I mean,
honest.
to put it like being face to face with your fans.
Yeah.
At time it could be performing, it could be just talking to them, it could be anything. Yes.
Yeah.
But yes.
It's like the culmination of everything you
Yes,
worked
that's
so
what
hard
everything
for.
we do. Yeah.
One trend which I feel is making a change, and I saw it this year, is people going for gigs.
Oh yeah,
Like
man.
a lot more people are going for gigs this year.
Artists from regions actually representing their roots and regionality instead of it just being as a representation basis.
You can dictate what mainstream can be.
Yeah.
So right now, whatever you make can blow up. You don't have to sort of make something, whatever is in the mainstream, for your song to be mainstream.
With every collaboration, you have to relearn how to leave your ego at the door.
Yeah.
100%.
Another 500.
I don't really swear in my lyrics. In everything that I've written, I don't really swear. And he swears a lot. A lot.
I think songwriting, it always starts alone, your journey. The song is like your child, and every parent wants better for their child than they do for themselves. It's how it is in life as well.
I just don't. I sort of give up and I'm like, okay, time to go to sleep. So I just...
And then Rahman sir calls you.
The feeling after you finish writing that song, I don't think it can replicate any. Like
It's
you
like
can't.
taking a shower. How you feel after a shower.
Yeah,
You get what I'm saying.
yeah, I know what you're saying.
So I have a folder on my phone. It's called Keep Going. And
Wow.
I'm a pianist that song's on the guitar for some reason. Like
94.3 Radio 1.